Christmas might be over, but this blog ain't. This is the final, did I say blog? This is the final Christmas vlog for my 12 days of Christmas, reading 12 different Christmas genres. Today, I'm busting out my homeboy, the Grinch. Check this out. Yeah, boy. This was in the children's section, which rude, you know. Adults want the Grinch too. I'm gonna sneeze. So yes, I had to bust out the Grinch, my favorite Christmas man. Okay, so let me tell you about the final books for this reading vlog. I got some doozies. You know what? I'm going to start with the tamest one. I got to go get it because I just finished it. So the first book I read is Good Spirits by B.K. Morrison, and I did purchase this because it just wasn't going to come into the library in time. So this is this book. This is a fantasy romance, and each chapter has got some candy canes up the top. So Good Spirits by B.K. Morrison is about a grumpy ghost who accidentally or incidentally ends up haunting the nicest woman in town. And he ends up catching feelings instead of souls. This is basically a Christmas Carol, but if Scrooge fell in love with and banged one of his ghosts. So it is I guess you would call it a heartwarming paranormal romance. It's a ghost story and redemption arc with some Christmas charm. Sorry, Nova's distracting me. So you have our main character, the ghost of Christmas past, Nolan, and he's snarky and cynical, and he comes up against Harriet's people-pleasing kindness. Both characters together end up confronting guilt, their past, and their grief. This is very much about letting go of the past in order to embrace the present. It was very cozy, it's romantic, and there's a ton of peppermint candy canes. I gave this a 3.5 stars, so you know it's a decent romance book. I did have some issues, so for me, I didn't love the banter between Harriet and Nolan. I felt like both of them were a little too mean and pushy with each other, especially immediately. I also felt like their romance escalated very quickly, so it wasn't slow burn enough for my particular tastes. Like legitimately the intimacy came on quicker than stores putting out their Christmas decor the day after Halloween. There is sex in this book. It is MA. It was actually quite spicy, not kinky, but you know, it went on for a little bit and there were multiple scenes. I gave it slightly higher than a 3-star because they're cat lovers and there's a cute kitty in this. And there was one scene that did actually get me quite emotional. So I was like, okay, you got me there. But in terms of the romance between the two, didn't really love it. But I could see how this would be a really popular Christmas romance. And look, I am a sucker for Christmas Carol iterations, even though it turns out I think the original is just okay, but I think that's because I've just read so many other versions of A Christmas Carol and they've all got like extra zhuzhing on top that's what I now equate with A Christmas Carol. So I like that element, but yeah, just the dynamic between the two wasn't quite right for me. The next book I read was Wrapped and Tapped by Vera Valentine. This is an erotica. In this story, you have Neve, and Neve just wanted a nap. Instead, she got 3 horny Christmas elves and a crash course in unwrapping herself for the holidays. Look, this is exactly what you think it is. You get what you get. You get what you expect in this. It is chaotic, spicy, and gleefully ridiculous. There are some festive shenanigans in these pages. So we have Neve, and her Christmas has hit rock bottom because her boyfriend accidentally butt dials her while he's banging his co-worker. So whilst Neve thinks her night can't get any worse, 3 elves magically appear inside her house to fill her with holiday cheer. She's like, what the fuck are you talking about? So what follows is, like I said, a very festive seduction, candy cane coated fun. I feel like these kinds of erotica are self-aware enough to lean into their absurd premises, okay? They're aware, they're ridiculous, and that's what makes them fun. We've got smut and silliness as holiday traditions, and it's very over the top. it's filthy, and yet it's a little bit wholesome beneath the twinkling dicks. In regards to themes, I find eroticas tend to always have some kind of theme. This one is about reclaiming pleasure and autonomy. So each of the elves in this book have unique light shows, and just like snowflakes, no two are the same. Peens in this, very creative, I must say. There's a safe word, and the safe word in this one is blitzen. And I'm like, you know what, I can get on board with that safe word. That one makes sense to me. We also have, as usual, with these, monster erotica or just silly eroticas, we have individual flavored secretions. And those were, see if you can guess, the 3 flavors of the male specimens liquids. We have cider, gingerbread, and mint chocolate. I found that this particular erotica was very consent focused, which love to see it. And that being said, there was some very encouraging sex talk going on, and it was reminiscent to me of the encouraging pep talks my midwives were giving me while I was in labor. And what do I mean? It's things like, that's it, you're almost there, just keep going, honey, you're doing so good. So those made me feel very weird. That was very weird. I was like, oh, I've heard these exact phrases before in a very not sexy situation. So I didn't love the encouraging sex talk. I could have done without that. Just give me the usual good girl, take it, baby. Give me the usual stuff. Not this stuff that was, close to Lamar's sort of phrases. But what did I rate this? I've forgotten what I rated it. 3.25. Yeah, I thought it was decent. I don't love gangbangs, so I'm not a reverse harem person or harem person at all. I much prefer 1-to-1 pairings, at the most 3. This was 4, and it's just too many dicks on the dance floor. Too many dicks for my liking, as magical as they were. A book that I would probably compare this to, if you want a comparison, is Tempting the Christmas Gnomes. That's a comparison. And for the first book, what would I compare that to? Obviously, A Christmas Carol, 100%. And something else a bit similar, I would possibly say The Dead Romantics by Ashley Poston, because male love interest was a ghost. All right, now let me go on to the last book for this reading vlog. Brace yourselves. So this is Christmas on Crack. This is collated by Carlton Mellick III, and this is bizarro fiction. So imagine Santa banging Russian whores, Frosty the Stripper, and an angry orgy at the North Pole hosted by mutant elves. It's Rudolph's Red Light District meets Fear and Loathing in Lapland. Basically, 'twas the night before debauchery. Once again, this is another book that is exactly what it sounds like, Christmas on Crack. I've had to censor the cover too. You can see full tatas in this one. This is a candy-coated fever dream soaked in sleaze, satire, and surrealism. It's a collection of other bizarro authors. So Carlton Mellick III didn't actually write any of these stories, so it's other authors, and they take Christmas tropes and shove them through a snowblower of kink and horrific chaos. It is offensive, unhinged, and nasty. Don't expect any sort of plot coherence or sentimentality with this Christmas collection. This is pure fucked up weirdness. The book is disgusting, but bizarrely festive. It is a sleigh ride straight through hell's North Pole. You have in this book hairy sugar plums, prison snow jobs, peppermint dicks, battery orgies, sadist Santa, and crabs with lasers. It was something. It was something. Did I enjoy it? No. I gave it a 2. Look, there is some kind of, like I said, morbid enjoyment from it, from the hedonistic, masochistic, sadistic level of sex and death. It was sex and violence, okay? Everybody was dripping with seminal fluids and blood in this book. Yeah, if I had to give you a comparison, I would struggle. Obviously, there's Christmas erotica, but okay, any Christmas erotica, you know, with Santa, elves, snowmen, and the like, and cross it with Krampus by Brom, because we need that violence in there, okay? That's what we need. So that was my final book. I'm now going to sum up the last 3 books I read for you and then tell you which book took the Christmas crown for me. We have Wrapped and Tapped by Vera Valentine, a festive fever dream where Neve gets snowed in with 3 very naughty elves and rediscovers the magic of unwrapping multiple presents at once. We then had Christmas on Crack, collated by Carlton Mellick III, a candy cane coated descent into Christmas nightmares where Santa's naughty list turns into a fetish anthology. Horrifying and holly jolly obscene. And then the final book was Good Spirits by B.K. Morrison, which is a paranormal romance, not fantasy, paranormal romance. A jaded ghost and a nice shopkeeper with weak boundaries must unravel their intertwined pasts before Christmas Eve. So for me, my favorite read of the lot was Letters from Father Christmas by J.R.R. Tolkien. Listen, J.R.R. Tolkien, master at his craft, okay? Loved the stories that he wrote. So the stories themselves about Father Christmas and the polar bear and the Ilbereth the elf, but also the fact that these were created for his children. So these illustrations and these stories and these worlds were created in order to bring magic to his children, sometimes during very hard times, and made them even more special. It is so wonderful that they shared this beautiful family tradition with the rest of the world. It was inspirational. It was heartwarming. It was the quintessent? It is the quintessential Christmas book. It encapsulates the magic and the meaning and the message of Christmas so wonderfully and beautifully and fantastically. So there's no way it could not have taken out the trophy for the best Christmas book, the one that is most representative of Christmas and the one that I enjoyed the most out of everything that I read for this reading vlog. Am I a big Christmas girly? No, I'm more like a bit of a Grinch. I like the Halloween. I like the Valentine's Day. I like the St. Patrick's Day Christmas less, because look, when you're a child of divorce and your parents were children of divorce and now I am a parent who is divorced, Christmas can get messy. It's a bit much. There's multiple events and things, and it has turned a bit consumery. You know, it tends to be a bit more about the gifts than the giving and the celebrating, in my opinion. I mean, everybody's different, but that's how I feel. It's been a bit commodified to me, and it just feels a bit more like an obligation now to go to Christmas. But obviously when my children were young, seeing their faces light up and hearing them talk about how they heard the sleigh bells and the hooves on the roof, it just reminded me of when I was a child, and the belief and the magic and the hope and the wonder and awe, and that is priceless. And I think that is a wonderful part of childhood. And so I do love Santa and the elves for that, and the reindeer. But reading Christmas in books, it's not the holiday I want to read about the most in books. I'd rather the others. But I actually had a decent time. I'm not sure what my average rating was. I'll put it up on the screen. I'm pretty sure it's above a 3. I think I enjoyed the majority of these Christmas genred books. But thank you for watching me spiral into festive delirium. Until next time, stay merry, and may your holiday reads be jolly.